like it and he is aware of it, then he should understand why people are saying there's nothing normal about today, except maybe the mechanics of it are normal, but
Right.
certainly not the behavior of the person who is going to be sitting in the most powerful seat in the country. That's not normal.
No, and he was speaking at Union Station to his donors, and he's trying to get them excited. And I think it's one thing to talk about your victory, but I agree with David. This went very rambling and incoherent, even for Donald Trump standards. And I thought he did so well all day, Donald Trump. I thought the Lincoln Memorial was fine. And then tonight, we started seeing we're going to have to live with that unscripted part. But I don't think, David, he has a sense of those founding fathers. I don't think he reads presidential biography. I don't think he cares much about history. He's coming out of business and advertising, and the idea is to sell something, you say it's the best. The hotel's the biggest, the greatest, the best, and he can't help himself. He's been being that kind of salesman, Donald Trump, for so long. He's had no public service, and it's taken him to the White House. So why is he going to get off that salesman roller coaster?
Dave, how does this carry over till tomorrow and throughout his entire?
Yeah, a couple things. One, to get to the point. So, right, if he wants to just speak to his base, then he's doing what he should be doing, because this is what people liked about him in the election.
He already has the base.
Right. If he wants to be the president of everybody, all he has to do is turn this a couple of notches, and instead of saying the IQ comment, simply say, I think my cabinet is great, and I encourage Congress to not to confirm them quickly, but he hasn't done that so far. To your question, tomorrow may be one of his last chances to get off on like sort of a running start with the broader body politic, right? Because after tomorrow, the pomp and circumstance kind of fades away, and there's more just the governing, and people are going to judge him on that more.
So, Emily, I know that you've been paying attention to the family, Ivanka, Jared, and what have you. As the family is sitting there, what do you think the reaction is from the family? Is because they've said don't go on Twitter so much, be more presidential. They're in the room tonight. Do you think they were okay with it?
I think that the demeanor of the children is the way that the president-elect should behave. They seem to be incredibly sobered by what is going on and in awe, as most president-elects would be. They're really taking in the magnitude of the day and really appreciating it for what it is and where it fits in history. And I think that their father can take a lesson from their behavior over the last several hours.
I think, Mark, as I said to someone earlier, I think, listen, he won. People didn't think he was going to win, so maybe you should just give him a little breathing room to say, hey, you know what, I did this. Or do you think that time is over?
That time is over. I mean, that time was over when he gave that speech the day after Election Day at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. He actually delivered a very grown-up speech, I have to say, for Donald Trump. I think we all walked away from it saying, wow, maybe he has turned the corner. But to David Gergen's point, he always trips himself up.
Was he not coming a sore winner?
Look, listen, I talked to one of his very close friends about this and said, what is his biggest weakness? And he said, his biggest weakness is that he always has to win. When he leaves the room, he has to feel like he won. And clearly, he still doesn't feel like he has won, because there are people that are going to be protesting his inauguration tomorrow, and that gets under his skin. He wants everyone to look at him and say, you are the winner.
It was interesting because he talked about all the crowds. Well, there were crowds for every single president who's inaugurated. He talked about the concert. There were a number of presidents who've had concerts on the Mall. He's not the first one.
No.
Yeah,
I also think another thing he doesn't understand, and I'm going to say this is the kind of thing that will make Trump supporters really angry, but I think it's true. He thinks he can bully Washington and that Washington's going to bow down to him. And it's just never going to happen. And Washington is an institution. It has its ways, for good or bad. But it's just not going to be a situation where he can just keep bullying and bullying and bullying. And people are going to stand their ground. And I think whether we're talking about journalists or we're talking about the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, he has a lot of people that he tries to bully.
He talked about journalists tonight, and he also spoke about his family. And we're going to play his words, what he said about his family. We'll discuss all of that when we come right back.